Oh my God, you just exposed that wolf in your church. And now your name is being cleared by something way bigger than any rumor. I know you feel that shift. I know you feel that weird, almost unsettling peace that doesn't make any sense given the chaos that's been swirling around you for the past few months, or maybe even years. Let's just sit with that for a second, because what I'm about to talk, to walk you through, is going to hit you right in the chest. So, you have been the one, haven't you? The one who has been quietly watching the manipulation happen. The one who's been feeling like you are taking crazy pills. Everyone else seems to be buying the act. The one who's been whispered about in parking lots after service. The one whose name has been dragged through the mud by someone who claims to love Jesus, but whose actions say something completely different. And here is the part that absolutely messes with your head. They are still standing up there, hands raised, singing worship, like they didn't just try to destroy you 6 days ago. And you are sitting there in that pure thinking, wait, did that happen? Did that even happen? Did I imagine the entire thing? I promise you, you didn't imagine it. I promise you, you are not crazy. You are in a unique position right now because you have not only identified that there is a wolf in your church, but it also feels like something is finally being revealed. So that person, that seemingly sweet, incredible, helpful, always there when you need them person, has been systematically dismantling your character behind your back. And the really twisted part, the part that keeps you up at night, staring at the ceiling, is that they did it with a smile. They do it with sculpture. They do it with faith concern that makes everyone around them not in agreement. But something broke open recently, some domino fell, and now the truth, your truth, is starting to bubble up to the surface. This is what we need to talk about, because the way you have been living, constantly looking over your shoulder, feeling defensive, trying to explain yourself to people who have already decided you are the problem. That is a special kind of hell. It's a slow suffocation. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to leave the church entirely. So let's just go there. Let's not pretend this is easy. Let's actually paint the picture of what this has felt like, because until you really sit in the reality of it, you will not fully grasp the power of what's happening right now. You are in the middle of a storm that you never asked for. You showed up to church seeking community, connection, seeking God. And instead you found a predator disguised as a protector. And what makes it so brutal is that this person is already familiar with the language of faith. They know how to sound just devout enough to be untouchable. They have memorized the right verses to back up their manipulation. when they talk about someone, they always preface it with, I have been praying about this. Or my heart is just so burdened for them. That kind of concern. And you being the decent human being that you are, you never saw it coming. It's like they walk around with a spiritual checklist, just checking off the boxes to make themselves look good while they systematically tear apart everything you have built. Think about the first time you felt that little ping in your gut, that tiny alarm bell that something is off. You probably dismissed it, right? You dismissed it. You're a good person. You told yourself you were being judgmental. You told yourself that you needed to extend your grace, extend grace. You told yourself you were just being sensitive because that's what they tell you. That's what they tell you. And now, look at where you are. You are in a full-blown smear campaign, and you didn't even know you were running for office. Here's where it gets really deep. You exposed them. Well, God exposed them through you. But it wasn't because you were trying to destroy someone. It wasn't because you were gathering a posse or trying to start a rebellion. It was because you simply started speaking the truth. You started answering questions honestly. You stopped covering for the behavior, and that was the beginning of the end. You see, a wolf doesn't fear the person screaming at them. The wolf fears the quiet person who suddenly stops enabling their lies. The wolf fears the moment when their victim stops being a victim and becomes a walking, talking mirror, my beloved mirror. That's when the real warfare starts. And you are in that phase right now. You are that mirror. You started refusing to participate in the facade. And now you are seeing the frantic scrambling on the other side. And look, I know the frantic scrambling because you are the one who's been watching it. Maybe it's the cold shoulder in the hallway, the whispered conversations that abruptly stop when you walk by, the way they suddenly over-spiritualize everything to make you look like the carnal one. It's exhausting. It's like you are living in a world that's slightly tilted on its axis, and you are the only one who can feel the lean. But then, right in the middle of that mess, when you're absolutely at your lowest, you start to feel it. You feel a heat, a clearing, a sense of justice that you didn't have to manufacture. It's like a thick fog is finally starting to burn off. Because here is the truth that the wolf never encountered for. They never encountered for the fact that God moves in complete silence. They expected you to fight. They prepared for you to argue. They had rebuttals ready to every accusation you could possibly make. But what they cannot prepare for, what they cannot out-strategize, is the sheer, quiet, absolute power of divine vindication. I want to say, yeah. You see, the wolf thinks they are fighting you. They think they are dealing with a flesh and blood. But what they don't realize is that when you have been wounded humbled and broken open, and you still choose to trust the process, you become dangerous. You become a vessel. You become a vessel that cannot be touched. Your name is on a list of heaven that says protected. And that list is non-negotiable. So when you say, when your name has been cleansed, that's not just a nice tagline for a video. That's your operation, the operation reality right now. Think about the smear campaign specifically. Let's be honest, this is probably what hurts the most. A smear campaign is a work of art for the enemy. It takes the truth, flips it upside down, and serves it to a congregation that desperately wants to believe the best in people. So they do. They believe your accuser. They believe that you were the one causing division. You were the one with the pride problem. You were the one who couldn't take feedback. And all of that flies in the face of who you actually are. You are probably the person who said yes to every request for help. Yeah. You are probably the one who showed up early to set up the chairs and stayed late to make sure everything was clean. You are the one who loves fiercely and gives generously. But the smear campaign ties you down goodness against you. They say, look at her. She's trying so hard to be noticed. They say, he's just trying to be a mortal. And you cannot win. If you set back, they say you're isolating. If you show up, they say you are being controlling. It's a lose-lose. And it's designed to break you. But here's the shift that's happening. And this is where the dopamine hits. The smear campaign is starting to look desperate. People are starting to notice the inconsistencies. The person who was so sure of their story is now changing details. The narrative that was so airtight is now starting to have holes. And people who were on the fence are starting to look at you differently. Not with suspicion, but with curiosity. They are wondering, wait, hold on a moment. If this person is such a monster, why are they so calm? Why are not they defending themselves? This is where you have to be really careful. The craving to defend yourself, the craving to set the record straight is almost overwhelming. It's like an itch you cannot scratch. You just want to pick up the phone, just one call, one text, just to clarify the misunderstanding. But it's a trap. It's a trap. That is the enemy's favorite playground. When you jump into the mud to wrestle the pig, you both get dirty. But the pig loves it. The wolf wants you to engage in the public spat because the wolf is an expert at turning the conversation. The wolf knows that the moment you react emotionally or physically even, they can point at you and say, look, I told you so, I told you. They are unstable. So what do? You do nothing. I know that sounds like giving up, but it's actually the most powerful strategic move you can make. You create a vacuum of silence that is so loud, so uncomfortable, that the wolf's own noise becomes unbearable, unbearable, to everyone around them. You give them just enough rope, and you watch them tie the knot. And this is what's happening for you right now. The people who believed the lies are starting to see a contrast. They are imbalanced. They are hearing the wolf talk, and then they are watching you just live your life, being faithful, doing the same thing you've always done. That contrast speaks volumes. Speaks loud, yeah. Let's talk about the exposure specifically. You exposed this person, but not in the way you might think. You didn't go to the microphone and call them out. You didn't send a mass email, a poem. You exposed them by being authentic. You exposed them by refusing to participate in their game. That kind of resistance forces a wolf out of hiding. They cannot control someone who's detached. They cannot manipulate someone who's walking in pure light. And when you stand in that place of authenticity, the wolf starts to make mistakes. They start overreacting, overreaching. They start to believe their own lies. They get bold. They get pushed too far. And that's when the cracks becomes canyons. This is the moment. Right now, this isn't the beginning of the end. This is the end. The exposure isn't just about clearing your name. It's about revealing the pattern of the wolf for everyone else to see. You are the collateral damage that actually becomes the catalyst for a major spiritual detox in your church. You are the person who, by simply refusing to bend, has shown the rest of the community that they don't have to put up with the manipulation anymore. Now I want you to visualize something for a moment. Picture a courtroom, a spiritual courtroom. The wolf is standing there with their carefully curated evidence, their half-truths, their twisted sculptures. They are presenting their case with confidence. And then the judge stands up, your judge. And he just looks at the evidence, completely calm, and he says, all right, bring the witness. And the witness isn't a person. The witness is time. The witness is the history of the wolf's behavior. The witness is the trial of broken relationships, the destroyed ministers, the abandoned friendships. The judge doesn't even need to hear you speak because your name is written in a book that cannot be altered. And he looks at that book and he looks at your name and he says, this is mine. This one is clean. Case dismissed. Your name has been cleansed. It's been purged of the accusations, purged of the shame, purged of the manipulation. Do you know what that feels like? It feels like you are weightless. It feels like the hardest thing you ever had to go through suddenly becomes the most profound testimony you ever had. Because when you are wronged by a wolf, you get to experience a level of redemption that the wolf cannot touch. The wolf will never know what it's like to be set free like this, because they have never been wrongfully accused. They are always the accuser. manipulator. But you are the one who gets to be vindicated by God himself. And I know you are probably thinking, but what about my reputation? What about my friendships? What about my the years I invested? This is a tough pill to swallow. But hear me out. God is not the business of restoring your reputation. He's in the business of establishing his reputation in you. Confused. Sometimes the apology you want from the wolf will never come. Sometimes the clearing you want from your friends will never happen. But that's a good thing. Because if you depend on human validation to feel clean, you will always be dirty in your own mind. You cannot go to the same well that poisoned you, expecting to find clean water. The clearing is coming from a source that doesn't depend on the wolf showing remorse. The fool might never show remorse, but your name is still clean. I know you feel the difference. The wolf might never tell the truth, but the truth is still out. God's judgment is sure, and it's not a harsh, angry judgment. It's the judgment that separates light from darkness, sheep from goats, wheat from tares. And you are on the right side of that divide. Let's just camp out of this situation for a minute and feel it. The person you are dealing with has a certain look in their eye. It's a look of entitlement. It's a look that says, I deserve this platform. I deserve this admiration. I deserve this control. And they will do whatever it takes to get it. Whatever it takes to get it. You watch them throw other people under the bus. You have watched them throw you under the bus. You have watched them take your ideas, your credibility, your ministry, and somehow make themselves look like the hero. It's maddening. Yeah, it's maddening. But right now you are watching something different. You are watching the facade slip. You are watching the audience start to squirm. And here is the thing. When a wolf is exposed, they don't think, oh my God, no, I better repent. They think, I need to double down. They think, I have to outrun this. But you cannot outrun the truth. You cannot outrun what is happening right now. The truth is not a rumor. It's an anchor. And it's dragging them down. It's dragging them into the light where they cannot hide. And as they struggle, as they fall, you are standing still and watching God handle the cleanup. This is what liberation feels like. You don't have to be a bulldog. You don't have to be a watchdog. You don't have to be anything but a child who trusts their father. And your father is saying, I've got this. I've got this. I see what's happening behind closed doors. I hear the prayers that are actual curses. I see the plans that are meant to destroy you. And he's taking all of that and he's weaving it into a story of redemption that people around you are desperate to hear. You are one of the who survived the wolf. You are the one who didn't become a wolf in the process. And that is a miracle. Because let's face it, The temptation is there, the temptation to get bitter, to get cynical, to start whispering about the wolf yourself. It's human. I'm not judging that. It's human. But you didn't. You stayed true. You stayed faithful. And that's the testimony that clears your name. It's not your words. It's your consistency. Think about the weight that's being lifted off your shoulders right now. You don't have to carry that secret anymore. The secret of what they did to you, the secret of how you really feel about them, the secret of the hurt you are carrying. All that stuff. It's coming out into the light. And guess what happens to things in that light? They lose their power. The shame loses its grip. The anger loses its bite. You are being cleansed of the filth of that relationship. And it's not just a spiritual cleansing. It's a mental, emotional, and even physical cleansing. You are breathing easier. You are sleeping better. You don't have that knock in your stomach when you walk into the parking lot, because your name is clean. It doesn't matter what the person says about you. It doesn't matter why they tell what they tell the pastor. It doesn't matter what they put on social media. Your name is on a clean slate in heaven, and that's the only slate that matters. Do you understand the permanence of that? The permanence of being justified by the Creator of the universe. It's absolute. The devil might try to smear you, but he cannot convict you. The church member might try to lie about you, but they cannot condemn you. The verdict is sealed. So what's your role now? Your role is to enjoy it. I'm serious. Enjoy the vindication. Enjoy the peace. Enjoy the quiet confidence that comes from knowing that your identity isn't tied to their opinion of you. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You don't have to wear a sign around your neck that says, "I'm innocent." You can just show up, be yourself, and let the contrast do the work. And honestly, it's the best payback you could ever give. The best revenge is your peace. It's your ability to sit in a room full of people who heard the lies, look them in the eye, and smile with genuine kindness because you know something they don't know. You know that God is fighting for you. And He doesn't lose battles. He never has. He never will. Let's also look at the people who believed the lies for a second. They are probably starting to feel pretty awkward right now. They might even be trying to get close to you again, acting like nothing happened. And you get to choose how to handle that. You get to extend the grace that was maybe never extended to you. But you don't have to be a doormat. You don't have to pretend like they didn't hurt you. But you also don't have to hold a grudge. No, that's the beauty of being cleansed. You can let it go because you already have everything you need. You are full, you are whole, you are on solid ground. And those friends who turned their backs on you, who preferred the wolf's smooth words over your honesty, Well, they are on their own journey now. They are discovering the truth for themselves. And you cannot rush that process. You cannot force them to see the light until they are ready. But you can. You can live in such a way that they realize their mistake without you ever having to say, I told you so. This is a massive moment. We're talking about the exposure of a wolf in the house of God, which means a major spiritual victory. The kingdom of darkness just lost a strategic asset. That wolf cannot operate in the shadow anymore. You can cut off their supply line. You exposed the operation. The enemy is furious, and that's why you are feeling that slight heat, that slight pressure. But you are protected. Remember that. You are hidden. You are in a fortress that cannot be breached. So when you see that wolf trying to lash out, trying to do more damage, trying to salvage their reputation, just watch. Just watch. Don't get into the boxing ring. Don't try to outpunch them. Just watch, because God's got them on the time, on a timer. So the clearing of your name is not something you have to strive for. It's something you get to receive. It's a gift. Yeah, it's a gift. It's a mantle. It's a testimony. And as you walk into this next season, you need to know that you are not just surviving the wolves. You are becoming a wolf slayer. Not in a mean, aggressive way, but in a way that stops the cycle. You are the one who stands in the gap and says, not today, not in my church, not in my watch. And you do it with love. You do it with conviction. You do it with the sword of the Spirit, which is the Word of God. You have every right to speak the truth. You have every right to expose the darkness. Not because you want to be famous. No, but because you want the church to be safe for the next person. And that right there is the heart of God. To protect the vulnerable. To lift up the crushed. So let's pause and take a breath. Your name is clean. It's clear. It's yours again. The dynamic assignments against your reputation are breaking. The network of lies that was built around you is uploading. And the wolf, well, the wolf is exposed. And exposure is the beginning of the end for them. They might look like they are still standing, but they are already falling. They just don't know it yet. You, on the other side, you are free. You are vindicated. And honestly, it feels amazing, doesn't it? The lightness, that relief, that profound sense of, I knew it all along. Now you get to step into your destiny without the chains. You get to praise without the shame. You get to worship without the distraction, because the name that was once dragged through the mud is now being lifted up, and it's being held by the hands that made everything, made the universe, made the stars, our beautiful stars.